álmaim autója, amit lerajzoltam, egy nagyon környezetvédő autó. Milyen jó lenne, ha sikerülne a megálmodott házamba költöznöm, ahol tudok kísérletezni és állatokat megfigyelni.
Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Maki Arai.
And I'm Makiko Tsuda.
Every week we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from a studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
These are our topics for today.
In Executive Insight, an interview with the world's top manufacturer of a certain machine.
From World Business Satellite, bringing relief to senior citizens stranded in the city without shopping venues.
Also from World Business Satellite, developing new products for the growing number of foreign visitors.
And in Takumi, a maker of a lifeboat that's dropped from a height of 30 meters. So first up is Executive Insight. So Utsuda-san, who will we be hearing from this time?
Yes, this time we'll be hearing from Akira Kiyohara, who's the president of Juki.
Juki. What kind of business do they do?
Well, it's a manufacturer of industrial sewing machines and has the largest market share globally. And the products are sold in about 170 countries and regions.
So they're really spread out around the world. So I'm curious, what's the difference between an industrial sewing machine and sewing machines we use at home?
Well, industrial sewing machines refer to those used in factories, making clothing, as well as bags, shoes, couches, car seats, and a variety of other products.
I see.
And if you can take a look over here, it's a factory overseas that uses Juki's industrial sewing machines, and most are designed to carry out a single function, like sewing in straight lines or a zigzag pattern or attaching buttons, and the workers in these factories carry out each process using specific machines.
So these machines handle very detailed tasks. So I imagine efficiency is also a big requirement.
Yes, exactly. And what's more, sewing machines used in factories need to be rapid as well as durable. And some operate at a speed of 8,500 rotations per minute, which is faster than a sports car engine. And also, extremely detailed processes are automated so that they can be carried out at a push of a button. So it may be more appropriate to call them robots rather than sewing machines.
Well, I guess it's safe to assume that many of the sewing products we find around us were made using Juki sewing machines.
You could say that, including the clothes that you and I are wearing right now. So here's our interview with the company president. Take a look.
Executive Insight. Asia, a region enjoying rapid economic growth. As consumer demand grows, one sector that's continuing to see its market expand is apparel. The backbone of global apparel manufacturing is the industrial sewing machine, and the biggest maker in the world by market share is Juki. It's said that a third of all the apparel in the world was processed by Juki equipment. To find out how the company has held on to the top position, we speak with the president, Akira Kiyohara.
Your core product is industrial sewing machines, an area where the trends in demand are constantly changing. Where in Asia are you focusing on?
The country that's most on fire is Vietnam. It's one of the blazing markets we consider as part of China plus others, followed by Indonesia, Cambodia, and Myanmar. In places such as India and Bangladesh, we've already been carrying out marketing activities almost on par with Vietnam. So, they're positioned at the same level as Vietnam.
In the emerging markets you're focused on, how strong is the demand for infrastructure investment?
In the emerging markets in Southeast and South Asia, I just mentioned, we still see very strong demand. They are learning from Japan, the US, and Europe, and catching up fast. Factories are able to reach a high level quickly, with high-end facilities being established one after another. In that sense, there's strong demand for infrastructure investment, and, at the same time, for an upgrading of facilities.
In recent years, apparel manufacturing has expanded in emerging markets in the ASEAN region, Central and South America, and the Middle East and Africa. Juki's high-end machines are also playing a role in the factories of these countries. Mr. Kiyohara shows us one of those high-end machines in a sewing center at company headquarters.
Here, you'll be able to understand firsthand why Juki is a comprehensive sewing machine maker. No other sewing machine maker has this wide a lineup of products.
How many types are there?
About 50.
So each one has a different function.
This is a sewing machine to make suits. It's like a multifunctional robot.
It's a sewing machine.
It is.
This sewing machine automatically stitches flaps for pockets found on suits, jackets, and trousers. The process of attaching flaps used to require about 5 workers carrying out specific tasks such as sewing by machine or hand. All of them can now be done by this one machine. After the flaps are stitched on, a blade pops out to cut out the pocket. And this is a machine used specifically for attaching buttons. It automatically stitches on buttons in a style called a wind thread shank, so that they're separated from the surface. This one machine can handle various types of buttons.
What's your view on usage-specific demand?
We refer to everything else as the non-apparel sector. Industrial sewing machines are commonly used in this sector as well. For example, car seats or airbags or sports shoes. There are also machines used to make furniture or bags. We want to grow our business in this field too. That's our big strategy. The reason is because apparel is a business that fluctuates widely and is sensitive to economic trends. On the other hand, cars and sports shoes are fields where growth is extremely stable. By getting business from customers in those areas, we can ensure consistent profits or sales. My aim is to grow our business in these fields. What you see here is a base machine for non-apparel products, in particular to sew car seats. It's used for what we call in the industry thick materials. Not like clothing, but several layers of leather. This sews them all at once.
The materials are different, but the stitching is very smooth.
Even if you combine the soft materials with hard leather, it'll sew them all at once. We believe this sewing machine is world-class in terms of functionality.
Household appliances used by consumers today contain circuit boards loaded with electronic components. Juki has been developing chip mounters to attach electronic components to circuit boards as its second core business after industrial sewing machines.
This is our product, an industrial device called a chip mounter.
It really looks like a machine.
It's essentially a robot.
It's moving very rapidly.
It can mount 75,000 components on a circuit board in an hour. That's about 20 a second. With every clank, it's mounting 20 components. It's a rapid machine. It requires not only speed, but accuracy. If the components are slanted or tilt over, it's no good. That's an unacceptable situation. So, they're straightened out every time. And it has a monitoring function to do that.
In the world of industrial devices, I understand that the business environment can change drastically. Is that a challenge for the company?
Until now, we've been selling our products as single units. But recently, our customers have been looking to raise the productivity of entire factories, to make them more efficient and upgrade the level of manufacturing. So, we want to propose entire production lines, a line solution. Until now, we've been doing business looking at only the area we're specialized in. So, we need to change how we operate. We want to do business by looking at entire factories. Our engineers also need to look at entire factories in developing products. It's necessary for us to transform our thinking and gain more experience, and of course, to study more. These are aspects we believe are very challenging.
Every month, Mr. Kiyohara travels out of Japan to inspect sewing factories in other countries. He says seeing firsthand the situation on the ground allows him to acquire various hints for products.
I go to see the factories of customers and find out what problems they're having. That allows me to support our sales team and participate in discussions during development. It's something I do as much as possible. When you actually go see the situation on the ground, there are many people lined up at sewing factories doing various tasks. And a big headache of managers is that there's always an area where products slow to a stop. For managers, this is inefficient workflow. To solve such problems, you need to go see what's happening on the ground to understand the specific issues. Reducing the number of workers from 5 to 2 alone will have a significant effect. We need to see the situation on the ground and talk to the equipment managers and operators. That way, we can understand what their problems are and identify solutions. I visit the factories of customers for a week to 10 days every month.
I've heard that being on the ground is your management style. You're originally from banking, a completely different world from manufacturing. Are there any difficulties for you?
My key phrase, even during my banking days, was everything happens on the ground. What I mean is, business is only possible because of customers. If you're constantly racking your brains and unsure, then you need to go back to the ground floor. Even in terms of risk management, you need to go back and put your feet on the ground. Developing products close to the customer and making products close to the customer are extremely important. This is the way I think, and that's why after I moved to manufacturing, I insist that everything derives from the bottom up. On the ground means the customer.
I had no clue that sewing machines were so specialized.
I know, it's quite a surprise, isn't it? Now, if you can take a look over here, now these are labels on clothing items. If you can look closely at the country of origin.
It says Vietnam, India, Indonesia, and Bangladesh.
Exactly, so you can see that these clothes were manufactured in several different countries.
So I've noticed that a lot of clothes nowadays are made not in China, but emerging markets across the Asian region.
Yes, you're right. And from about the mid-1990s, apparel manufacturing began shifting to China. But now, in recent years, because of rising costs, there's been another shift towards the ASEAN region.
Well, with their sewing machines spread out across countries, I imagine they must have a hard time dealing with each problem that crops up.
Yes, it should. And like we heard from the president, he personally visits manufacturers around the world to find out firsthand about their problems, big or small. And this sort of meticulous hands-on management may be the reason why the company continues to be the top manufacturer of industrial sewing machines.
Welcome to Tokyo Skytree. This is the grand panoramic view from 450 meters. Here you'll experience the unforgettable. Look, enjoy, be amazed, and be awestruck. That's what Tokyo Skytree is all about. Japan's latest landmark, Tokyo Skytree.
Man, look at all these cars.
Hey, have you heard, by the way? The Japanese company Kobelco is working to make the world's cars lighter.
So what does that mean?
Kobelco is using aluminum and steel technologies to make car parts and bodies lighter around the world.
Ah, Japanese technology. The country of karate. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Why do we always do that?
I don't know.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
We do our jobs with sincerity and integrity to make a better living environment for the people and our society. Today's work, tomorrow's heritage. Shimizu Corporation.
Omron is a company like no other. It defines expectations because engineers are constantly working on something new. Machines that are attuned to the way people think and move. Therein lies technology that will one day help the future. We automate. Omron.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we have a report from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite. So, Utsuda-san, what's the topic?
Arai-san, have you ever heard of the term stranded shoppers?
Actually, yes. I know it refers to people living in outlying regions of Japan who no longer have a place to buy daily necessities because of local mom and pop shops have closed down. And I understand one reason is the expansion of large-scale shopping centers.
Yes, you're right. And they're also sometimes referred to as the shopping disadvantage. But this problem is considered as generally affecting towns and villages with shrinking populations. But actually, it also exists right in the middle of Tokyo.
It's hard to believe. You've got supermarkets and convenience stores within walking distance in almost every part of the city.
Yes, exactly. There are perceptions that big cities are very convenient in terms of shopping, but for some elderly people, walking or riding a bicycle just to buy daily necessities is something very difficult to do. And also the trend of nuclear families has meant that a growing number of elderly people are living alone with no close relatives to help them go shopping.
So the population in Tokyo is also growing?
It definitely is, and it's forecast that the city's population will reach 13.36 million by the year 2020, and 1 out of 4 people will be 65 years old and above.
So there will be more elderly people in the city who will have difficulty shopping.
That would be the case with how things are going, and we have a report on what's being done to deal with this problem, so take a look.
Matsudo, Chiba Prefecture. Hello Mart, a supermarket chain with 6 branches in the region. Late last year, it applied for bankruptcy rehabilitation. With liabilities of $11 million, the chain operator is continuing operations while seeking out investors.
For fresh foods, I rely on supermarkets, so it's going to be very inconvenient.
Meanwhile, at a shopping arcade in Oto Ward, a supermarket that put food on the dinner tables of local residents for more than 60 years, closed its doors.
There's a 7-Eleven and another convenience store just opened up right up ahead.
Competition among major supermarket chains is intensifying. And with the weakening yen pushing up procurement costs for imported foodstuffs and other products, small and mid-sized businesses are feeling the squeeze.
Convenience stores have started selling fresh foods, vegetables, and fruits. Similarly, drugstores are stocking fresh and frozen foods. Sectors that didn't used to compete are competing. Small and mid-sized businesses, especially supermarkets, are facing extremely severe competition.
And now what was once thought to be a problem of outlying areas, consumers without a place to shop, is growing even in Tokyo. In Shinjuku, Tokyo, a new initiative is now underway to help out these so-called stranded shoppers. Supermarket operator Marusho Sohonten has launched a mobile supermarket that goes around the area.
Shinjuku is not an exception when it comes to the societal issue of an aging population. Many of our customers who actually come to the store have trouble walking. We believe there are people who can't physically reach our store.
7 in the morning. Staff members in charge of the mobile supermarket are busy gathering food products. They load fresh vegetables, meat, and even fish. Among them are even high-priced products.
Foie gras and beef tenderloin. The price is $40. Many of our customers want to eat tasty food, even if it's a bit pricey.
The supermarket sells about 1,500 items from foods to daily necessities through its mobile outlet. On this day, it will drive to 40 homes. – 10 a.m. It first arrives at a city-run residential compound. When the music is played, elderly residents gather around. They say this service has made shopping much more convenient than before. Each product is sold at a 10-cent premium on the regular price. Still, they say average spending per customer is about $20, a helping hand for the stranded shoppers of Shinjuku.
I buy most of my stuff here. They come even on rainy days.
About 167 households live in this 40-year-old compound.
Many are 80 years old and above. About 2/3 of the residents.
The staff members even deliver products directly to the doors of residents who have difficulty carrying things up.
Whenever I hear the music, I go down.
There are several convenience stores within walking distance of the compound, but a survey of residents revealed that an overwhelming number prefer to shop at supermarkets.
There are convenience stores in walking distance in 90% of wards in Tokyo. But residents say they can't survive on just convenience stores. The number of stranded shoppers is unmistakably growing.
And late in the afternoon. On this day, the mobile supermarket brings in sales of about 70,000 yen, or about $600. The concept for this mobile supermarket was actually developed by a company in Tokushima Prefecture. Tokushimaru, which makes rounds in the region using 12 trucks, expanded into Tokyo last July.
Stranded shoppers aren't limited to just outlying regions. There are actually many in the center, in the middle of Tokyo. This business model of mobile sales of mobile supermarkets will undoubtedly become a standard in society several years from now.
Shopping arcades are also taking action. The Harumicho Shopping Arcade in Fuchu, Tokyo. Over the past several years, sales have shrunk by 30%. In addition to a loss of customers to a commercial complex that opened up near the train station, the aging of local residents has meant fewer people come through the doors.
I'm heading out now.
In response, they started a delivery service. It covers the 19 businesses of the shopping arcade. When an order is received by telephone, staff members go to each store to collect the products and charge customers about $3 as a delivery fee.
It's sashimi.
Ms. Minami's husband is currently in hospital. She also has problems walking. She uses the delivery service 2 to 3 times a week. On this day, she had sashimi and fruits delivered to her home.
The fruits and the vegetables are very fresh. The fish is also fresher and less costly than at the supermarket.
Deliveries from the Harumicho Shopping Arcade are what put food on Ms. Minami's dinner table. It's only been a short while since the shopping arcade started the service. The primary aim is to support the elderly residents of local communities. To also increase sales, the shopping arcade is planning to further expand the service.
Elderly people aren't able to buy and carry a lot of things. They have a lot of physical difficulties, and so they tell us they're very grateful we go to them. I believe we need to widen our scope and look beyond the category of having customers come to us and think of delivering products to them. It's something we're starting to feel will become increasingly important from now on. We never thought about this aspect until now.
As the number of stranded shoppers continues to rise, even within cities, shopping arcades and small supermarkets are taking action to bring relief to consumers.
Because we believe cities are about people. Mori Building.
Mitsui & Company.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green solar power systems in Singapore.
Sistem AC ramah lingkungan di Indonesia.
Eco changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
The sport truck. New Mitsubishi Triton.
Drive at Earth Mitsubishi Motors.
So what's next?
Yes, I want to show you some numbers over here. It refers to a certain type of store. What do you think it is?
I'm guessing convenience stores.
I would imagine that too, but actually they're the number of export stores, or what's commonly known as duty-free shops. And as you can see, the number of stores increased nearly 40% in just 6 months.
That's a big jump. Well, I know that in October they expanded the types of tax-exempt products.
Yes, you're right. And until now, duty-free products were limited to items such as appliances and clothes. But starting in October 2014, the government added foods, drinks, cosmetics and other expendables to the list.
And I understand that confectionaries, cosmetics and food products are among the things that foreign visitors buy most in Japan. So this duty-free policy should be a big plus for people who are coming from abroad.
Exactly. And because products such as sake and seafood were also added to the list, the manufacturers in various regions across Japan are starting to develop items targeting foreign visitors. And we have a report on moves by towns and villages to re-energize their communities by internationalizing local specialties.
In the first half of last year, foreign visitors at Kansai International Airport reached a record 3.2 million, surpassing the number of Japanese air passengers for the first time.
The number of foreign visitors reached a record high, and sales of businesses, including duty-free and souvenir shops, increased sharply.
Net profit at New Kansai International Airport Company jumped 40% from a year earlier, boosted by strong sales of duty-free and other goods. With tax exemptions for foreign visitors expanded to include purchases of food, businesses are eyeing new opportunities. About an hour by car from Kansai Airport is Wakayama City. This is the Kuroshio Market, a popular stop among overseas visitors. Being held inside is a tuna filleting demonstration.
The haul of fresh tuna at Katsuura Port is #1 in Japan.
Amazing.
I read about Kuroshio Market on a website, and they said it was as famous as Tsukiji Fish Market.
Foreign visitors come here eyeing local seafood and specialties. Especially popular are dried horse mackerel, scallops, and miso soup of spiny lobster. Last fiscal year, 85,000 overseas travelers are estimated to have visited the market, with total sales up 1.5 times over the previous year. 70% of the customers are from Hong Kong and Taiwan.
The number has increased exponentially in the past 2 to 3 years.
One woman takes pictures of the specialties on display. She's an editor of a guidebook published in Hong Kong and is one of many people helping to promote the Kuroshio market.
Hong Kong has many high-rise buildings, so this kind of countryside location and natural scenery is attractive, especially for people from Hong Kong.
She is actually here on invitation from the tourism section of the Wakayama Prefectural Government, which has been carrying out a variety of activities to raise the international profile of the region.
With the shrinking and aging population, it's very important that we attract inbound visitors. They will help promote local revitalization.
Mitsukoshi Department Store in Ginza, Tokyo. One product is said to be selling surprisingly well here.
Many of the people who buy knives here are from Europe and the United States.
With interest growing in Japanese-made kitchen knives, they expanded the section last August. Many of the customers are Europeans and Americans, with the top-selling products being knives made in Seiki, Gifu Prefecture, costing between $200 and $300 each. At Mitsukoshi Ginza, the popularity of knives helped boost overall sales to foreign visitors last October by 2.5 times compared to the previous year. And among duty-free items, another product that's selling well is sake. Enjoying strong sales among foreign visitors is Yoshikubo Shuzo, a sake brewery established in 1790. Ahead of the new tax exemption program last October, they began producing sake containers with woodblock prints of sumo wrestlers. Put on the shelves of duty-free shops, they are said to have sold out immediately.
We believe demand for Japanese sake will expand even more.
Hiroyuki Yoshikubo, the 12th generation president, has developed a special sake brew targeted at overseas markets.
It undergoes quite a strong fermentation process and has a bold taste.
The finished product has a taste fruity and bold enough to compete with white wines. Currently, it is being exported to markets such as the US and Australia, and is in such strong demand that they doubled production.
We sold out of everything we produced last year. So this year, we're making double the amount.
Meanwhile, in Shinagawa, Tokyo, confectionery maker Ginza Hananoren has created a number of products popular with foreign visitors, such as rice crackers. Sales at major airports are up 30% from a year ago. But this company does more than make confectionaries. On this day, taro from a farm in Yamagata Prefecture arrives. They've been asked to find a way to sell this produce to people from overseas. The company has been receiving such inquiries from producers nationwide and advises them on sales strategies for local specialties.
The target market is Taiwan, where beef noodles are a staple. The dish looks similar to stewed taro, so we'll put taro in beef noodles.
They stew the taro in beef and pork bone broth and flavor it in a Taiwan style. Poured on top of inaniwa udon, the sample of taro beef noodles developed for the Taiwan market is completed. An employee originally from Taiwan has a taste, but
the taste of the taro is too light for people in Taiwan.
Next, they try a sweet and spicy soy sauce and flavor it in a Japanese style. Also added is cuttlefish shipped from Sakai Minato, Tottori Prefecture. Then,
this will work. I think people in Taiwan want a Japanese taste.
A trading firm from Taiwan will come next month, so we'll show it to them then and get their feedback on the combination of cuttlefish and taro. If they say it's okay, then we'll export it.
more people are expected to visit Japan ahead of the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. And the market opportunities for local specialties are likely to grow.
Let's enjoy Japan.
Wonderful.
I knew you'd like this.
You know me so well. Where to next?
Golf.
Wonderful.
Japanese garden.
That's wonderful too.
Onsen with a Fujisan view.
Wonderful.
Let's go then.
いらっしゃいませ.
Wonderful.
Incredible.
Smiles ahead. Seibu Group.
Tomorrow never ends with you. With you. It won't. When the morning falls, be there so long. Well, I know we'll never.
For life's greatest moments. Bridgestone.
Channel Japan. Your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.
So next we bring you a segment called Takumi from Science View, a program produced by NHK that introduces the latest developments in science and technology in Japan.
And, Takumi is a word often used to describe a person with exceptional skill in a certain craft or a master technician.
So who's our Takumi today?
Yes, if you can take a look over here.
What was just dropped?
It's actually a lifeboat that carries passengers and crew on board on big ships to safety.
A lifeboat? But that was quite a big drop. What about the people inside?
Very good question. It's a free-fall type lifeboat, and when it hits the water, they say there's a force of 18 Gs at the point of impact. And this time we introduce a company that's been working to soften the impact, so take a look.
I'm 1,000 kilometers west of Tokyo in Shimonoseki City in Yamaguchi Prefecture, looking out at a beautiful Japan Sea. Today's Takumi, or innovator, has created this, a boat. But what kind of boat is it? Well, it's a special kind of lifeboat that is used in large ships and other seaborne vessels. Let's go and find out more.
Hello, I'm Michelle Yamamoto. Today's Takumi is Kazuyuki Yamane. He works at a shipbuilding company. Can you tell me what's so special about this boat?
This vessel is made so that a crew of people will remain safe inside it, even when it is dropped into the ocean from a height of 30 meters.
This free-fall lifeboat is installed on the afterdecks of large vessels. It was created to allow crew members to evacuate a ship quickly during an emergency. These days, large cargo ships often have decks 30 meters above sea level. From that height, the lifeboat can be launched into the ocean in approximately 1.5 seconds. When it hits the ocean surface, it experiences between 18 to 20 Gs, an enormous amount of force. Figuring out how to protect the crew inside was a difficult task. And Yamane began developing the lifeboat under tough economic conditions for the shipbuilding industry, including deflation and a strong yen. The first thing to be designed was the bow of the ship. At first, Yamane thought giving it a pointed tip would allow for a smooth landing. But early experiments using models were not successful. The pointed tip couldn't compensate for the force of strong waves that occur in rough weather. Yamane continued to test various models over a period of 3 years.
I wanted to create something that was unique, something only made in Japan.
This is the design he finally came up with. The shape looks kind of like a fat bullet. With this shape, Yamane found that no matter how rough the ocean was, he could reduce the force of impact that the ship felt to 14 Gs, a reduction of 20 to 30%.
Whoa! There are lots of seats inside.
Yamane also came up with an innovative kind of seat design to protect passengers.
Okay.
How many passengers can this boat accommodate?
It's made for 25 passengers. That's enough seats for the entire crew of a vessel.
The front of the lifeboat is over there, right? Why are the seats facing backwards?
By sitting backwards, your entire body absorbs the impact when you hit the ocean surface.
Yamane even took into account the angle of the various seats. The lifeboat first hits the water at an angle like this, so passengers at the front will experience the impact at this angle. But the stern of the boat hits the surface of the water at a different angle, and so the seats in the stern are arranged accordingly. Different seats at different angles. Also, the cushions are made from special material that helps absorb shocks. After years of trial and error, Yamane's free-fall lifeboat was complete. 50 units have already been manufactured.
At its core, it's a boat just like any other. But at the same time, a boat that sails on waves, for example, and a boat that dives into the ocean from a high place have to be approached from very different perspectives. The two kinds of boats experience completely different kinds of forces. An engineer might think he knows everything, but he's going to have blind spots. He needs to be open-minded and curious. That's what's important when creating life-saving equipment and safety devices. It's very important.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so join us again next week.